Hello friends, welcome to C Programming Tutorials. In this class, we are going to discuss about some previous questions of programming for problem solving using C. So 10 questions. In these 10 questions, you are going to answer any 5 questions. So one question from each unit. That means here, so this is the first question, second question. So coming from first unit. Now, in these two questions, you are going to answer one question. Okay. So similarly, so next question, so 3 and 4, you are going to answer one question. And in 5 and 6, you are going to answer one question. Coming to 7 and 8, you are going to answer one question. In 9 and 10, you are going to answer one question. So up to now, we complete all the topics in programming for problem solving using C. We complete the syllabus. Okay. In this session, we are going to solve first question. Okay. So what's the first question? How are signed and unsigned integers stored? Explain with an example. So this is the solution for this question. So what is unsigned number? So unsigned number is nothing but so any number so that is treated as a positive number only. That is treated as positive number. Okay, that we are called as a unsigned number. And similarly, signed number. What is signed number? You represent both positive number and negative number. What is the question here? How are signed and unsigned integers stored? Okay. After that, you are going to explain with an example. Okay. So if it is unsigned number, that means whatever you are going to store, all are positive numbers. So for example here, so 92, I want to store the 92. It is unsigned number and I want to store this as a unsigned binary number. How we can store? Simply convert this 92 into binary number. Okay, so convert the 92 into binary number. That means there is no sign here. So that means 92 is changed like this. I hope you all know how to convert 92 into binary number. Okay, so it is 7-bit binary magnitude of the decimal number 92. Okay, so next one, signed numbers. Signed numbers is nothing but both positive number and negative number. So that means so plus and minus. So for example, so this is the plus 11 and minus 11. So how we represent the signed numbers means by using 2's complement. By using 2's complement. So now, so how we represent plus 11 means, so for example, it is the 8-bit representation for plus 11. Here there are two parts. One is for to represent sign and the remaining bits for magnitude. Okay, that means here we are using 8-bit representation. So 1 bit is used for sign and remaining 7 bits are used for magnitude. Okay, so plus 11. Now, so for all the positive numbers, the sign is representing with 0. Okay, so now you convert the 11 into binary numbers. What is the 11 equivalent binary number? 1, 0, 1, 1 is the binary number. So remaining of zeros. Okay, so this is the 8-bit representation of plus 11. Okay, so now the same number I want to represent minus 11. Minus 11. Now 1 bit is for sign and remaining 7 bits is for magnitude. So what is the first bit? It is a negative number. So 1 here. Okay, next it is a negative number. So you represent this with 2's complement. That means so first you are going to find the binary number to 11. What is the binary number? 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. Now you find 1's complement. That means 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. So this is the 1's complement. So this is the 1's complement. So 2's complement means add 1 to the least significant bit. Here 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1. So this is the 11. So minus 11. So the last bit is 1. So this is the minus 11 representation. Okay. So how we retrieve this data? So what is the number here? So this is the number. So binary number 1 1 1 1 0 1 0 1. Okay, when the most significant bit is 1, then it is a minus value, so it is a minus number. So how we can find the number means find the 2's complement for this. What is the 2's complement for this? 0 0 0 1 0 1 0. Add 1 here for 2's complement. 0 0 0 1 0 1 1. Okay, so what is the equivalent number? 11. So it is minus 11. Okay, so in this way you are going to write answer for this question. How are signed and unsigned integers stored? And you can explain with an example here. Okay, so coming to 1b here. 1b here. So what is scope of variable? Explain. So block scope, function scope, program scope, and file scope with an example. Okay, here we know so 3 types of scopes. One is block scope, function scope, and file scope. So simply saying, so scope of an identifier, that means a variable. If I define a variable int a, okay, now so what is the scope of this variable? So where I can use this variable a means that is based on where I define this a. Okay, there are 3 types. One is block scope, function scope, file scope. If I define this a inside the brackets, now so this a scope is block scope. If I define this a inside a function, then the scope is function scope. If I define this variable so globally, that means the scope of the variable is entire program. So that we are called as a file scope. Okay, now we see one example. So this is the example. If you observe that I declare a outside the main here, so that means it's a file scope. I define this a as a global. I define b variable in a function. So the scope of the b is within the function only. And in our previous classes, we write many programs. In that we write many for loops. In that we write for int I equals to 0. Now the scope of the I is within this block only. Within this block only. Now if I try to print b value, so b defined in this function, but I try to access from main function, then it returns an error. Okay, so similarly this I is defined in this block. The scope is within this block, but I try to print I value, then also it returns error. Okay, so this is the answer for this question.